Amid strained budgets and a fiscal crisis that has enveloped the organization for years, the United Nations is embarking on a new initiative subjecting itself to rigorous and regular scrutiny to assess its fitness for purpose. And the UN chief argues that its 80th anniversary is the perfect moment to expand these efforts.
And this 80th anniversary year of the United Nations is a prime moment to expand all our efforts, recognizing the need for even greater urgency and ambition. That is why I have informed yesterday UN member states that I am officially launching what we call the UN80 initiative. I have appointed a dedicated internal task force led by Under-Secretary General Guy Rader and composed of principals representing the entire UN system.
Present member states with proposals in 3 areas, rapidly identifying efficiencies and improvements in the way the UN Secretariat and its agencies, funds and programs does its work. Reviewing the implementation of all mandates received from member states, often through decisions of the General Assembly or the UN Security Council. And finally, a strategic review of deeper, more structural changes and program realignment in the UN system. Guterres explained that some functions based in expensive locations like New York would be moved to regional headquarters in an effort to cut costs.
This is a continuation and an intensification of a work that we have always been doing. I'll give you just an example. We have been investing in Nairobi, creating the conditions for Nairobi to receive services that are now in more expensive locations. And UNICEF will be transferring soon some of the functions to Nairobi, and UNFPA will be essentially moving to Nairobi. And I can give you many other examples of things that are being done and correspond to this idea that we must be effective and cost-effective.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
He rejected the notion that their review would be anything akin to the wide-ranging and controversial cuts being led by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency in the current US administration.
Nothing to do with that kind of initiatives. We are talking about completely different processes, methodologies and objectives. Under the leadership of the President of the General Assembly, I will consult closely and regularly with all member states on the progress made, seeking guidance on the way forward, and present concrete decisions for discussion and decision-making when appropriate. My objective is to move as soon as possible in areas where I have the authority and to urge member states to consider the many decisions that rest with them. And this goes far beyond the technical. Budgets at the United Nations are not just numbers on a balance sheet. They are a matter of life and death for millions around the world. We must ensure value for money while advancing shared values. The need is great and the goal is clear. An even stronger and more effective United Nations that delivers for people and is tuned to the 21st century.
The UN has faced a liquidity crisis over at least the last 7 years, because not all member states pay their dues in full, and many also don't pay on time. One of the worst offenders is the United States, which is the top contributor to the regular UN budget at a maximum of 22%, and according to the UN is in arrears to the tune of $1.5 billion, and when adding in funding for peacekeeping and tribunals, that figure jumps to a whopping $2.8 billion. Recent cuts to humanitarian aid from several countries has further pressured agencies to cut staff and shrink or completely eliminate various programs that will affect the most vulnerable of peoples around the world. Shervin Bryce, please, SABC News, New York.